Hey, welcome to Bruce for Liberty. You got Bruce McGee, a.k.a. Bruce the Weathered Soul, here on WSLN, the Weathered Soul Liberty Network. And we have a special guest with us tonight, Josh Forsyth of the Fen Podcast. We're going to have a good time talking to him tonight. And this is the place where you can talk about faith, you can talk about freedom, you can talk about liberty, you can talk about all kinds of things that you want to talk about here on Bruce for Liberty Podcast. And I just cannot wait to get on the other side of this intro so I can entertain you for however long we go tonight. So here we go. Hey, this is Bruce McGee. Welcome to the second Bruce for Liberty podcast. And there is a smiling face over there that I haven't seen in a long time. Actually, we've never been on video together, and this is the first time, but that's Josh Forsyth of the Fen Podcast, and also of Forsyth Farms down in, what's the city that you live in? I'm sorry.
We are in Norwalk, California.
Norwalk,
California.
There we go. And we just want to welcome you here. This is number 2 of the Bruce for Liberty podcast. There was some Bruce for Liberty podcast long ago, but those were audio podcasts. And now I decided to go ahead and relaunch this podcast, and it's live on the Weathered Soul Liberty Network. If you want to take a look at it, all you have to do is go to your Facebook page and type in the Weathered Soul Liberty Network, and I can show you the page on that. There's the Weathered Soul Liberty Network right there on your Facebook page, and we are exclusively held by our YouTube page, WSL and the Weathered Soul Liberty Network, and you can go over there and you can hit the share button, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and you can get informed anytime that the Weathered Soul Liberty Network posts a podcast. I have 3 or 4 podcasts on there, and you're welcome to do each and every one of them. And we just welcome you here. How you doing, Josh? How's it going, buddy?
I'm doing great, my brother. I appreciate you having me on tonight. I'm rocking my taxation is theft shirt.
We saw that, man. Absolutely.
In the pre-show, promoted the Forsyth Farms. Just it's a pleasure and honor to be on here, man, and talk. What we're going to talk about tonight, man. Thank you very much. Humble to be on here.
It's been a long time since you've been on the Weathered Soul podcast before, and we talked about your quail raising and stuff. And tonight we'll talk a little bit about your quail raising. We'll talk a little bit about this and that. But me and you share what's been going on with the social media melee that's going on right now about being deplatformed, about being shut down, and all kinds of things. I mean, you suffered a couple suspensions in the last couple of months. I suffered some suspensions at the beginning of my podcast career, and we all get through them, but it's just, I think it's pretty ridiculous about what's really going on. I mean, if you tuned into the Weathered Soul podcast last night, me and Dougie had a very heated discussion about who's at fault and why is at fault and how we got to this point. And, you can argue with him or argue with me, whichever way you want to do it. But I mean, the fact of the matter is that we have some stuff going on in the United States right now that probably, in my lifetime, I've never seen it. I mean, and I'm 60 years old. Josh is a young strapping buck there, man. He has
look at these gray hairs, brother. I'm not that young.
But we are no doubt strangers to what we see, and it's very eye-opening, and it's very heartbreaking to me because I grew up in the late 60s, early 70s, and a lot of my heroes were actually civil rights activists, anti-war and free speech activists, and they all came here from the Bay Area in California, and I don't see them anymore. And the ones that I did see that were there have just sold out to the state. And to me, what we're going to do right here, I mean, I don't know if you guys if anybody got offended by my intro, but I meant that intro to be very, 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 very subjective, because, I love my national anthem. I love my flag. I love my country. but I will screech it and I will scream to the heavens and earth about my freedom and about my liberty. And I'm not going to worship the state. I'm never going to worship the state. And that's all there is to it. And I think Josh is along with me, is that I'm a worshiper of faith. I'm a worshiper of Jesus Christ. I'm a Christian. And that's the way that I roll. And if that offends anybody that watches this podcast or watches the Weathered Soul podcast, follows me on Facebook, Twitter, wherever I'm at, because I'm going over to Gab too, that's your problem, not mine. I mean, I walk just fine, that way. And I think that Josh feels the same way about it. Go ahead, Josh.
Yeah, amen to that, Bruce. I mean, you might walk the line, and in the pre-show, I said I run that, I run that line. I'm the same way, man. But I think it's very hard for me because I've always been that little dog and I have that sport mindset when I have to do things. That little dog that just has to go and just keep barking and keep going, right? But I am unapologetic, and this whole last year, I mean, most people have been decimated. Let's not sugarcoat it, right? Yeah. With the Rona, aka the Medela virus, or whatever you want to call it, and then now with this going on, with all the craziness, with deplatforming, supposedly the storming of the Capitol, or whatever you want to call it, the mob, the riot, the
interruption.
Yeah, the interruption. I call it like whatever. I'm like, go for it. You're ripping down the state. You're tearing it down. Rock on,
Rock on, baby.
So like, I'm just seeing all this stuff, and I'm just going like, I'm getting more to that point where I'm just more harsh, more direct. My language is coming out more harsh as a fellow man of Christ and a Christian, and my walk's very new, guys, with this. It's just because people need to be shooken and woke to the core, and facts, logic, and reason. And I don't know if you've seen that one, Bruce. I think John Odermatt seen it, and others. I forgot where it was. I posted. I said facts, logic, and reason do not matter anymore. You can present all these graphs, all these charts, all this stuff, and Absolutely. My circle is getting this big, this tiny big now, because I don't care. I'm done with you guys. Like, I can't continue my life with this is my worldview, and you don't see it like that. I can still love you with a loving heart, and I'm going to. I'm gonna love you as my brother and sister, but you ain't coming around anymore. And that kind of stuff. And that line now, dude. And as we were talking in the pre-show, it's like, whoop, okay, who am I going to align with? Because I think with this, flat out, this is a war. We have a war on our hands, folks, with what's happening with the deplatforming of speech. Don't tell me they're a private company when they've been on the dole. They work for them. They have all these agencies they work for. It's nonsense. It's BS. They are government. They're in bed with them. They love them. They suck on that teat. Excuse my language there. But it's the convoluted effort to come together at one time to go, okay, now we got to get rid of these guys.
Right.
What in the tarnation? Like you said, Bruce, I'm 37. I've never seen anything like this. I talked to my dad. He has a couple years on you. Never seen anything like this. This is just asinine, crazy. I don't know. I don't know. I know what to think, but I'm just going like, what's next? What fireworks show is coming next, man? Because I'll tell you what, man. Guys at my work are talking because, guys, by day trade, I'm a carpenter. So we're talking about this, and like, dude, if shit hits the fan, we're getting home to our family, And these are some hardcore individuals that came from jail, prison, that figured it out, came to Christ, and so forth. But it's just, man, it's going down these different rabbit holes and seeing all this stuff right now, and trying to get your information is a little bit more difficult because of all the deep platforming. And we need to, as people that still believe in either the Constitution, libertarians, agorists, voluntarists, need to also be a little bit more principled and make that stand, okay? And say, okay, are we still going to use these guys?
Yeah, absolutely.
And find those other means to get off them. It is hard. Trust me. Amazon's easy. It's convenient. Twitter's, fascist book. But if our customers are there, we might have to stay a little bit, or we might have to take a hit and say, here I am. Old school emails work. The encrypted stuff like Telegram, which I love. Signal's great. Gab, Parler, I think they'll be back. It's just, I don't know, man. We shall see. We shall see what's going to happen these next couple of weeks, bro. Because I think you're going to see a lot more violence in the streets on these platforms, talking the back and forth. And who knows, man? Who knows where this is going to lead, man? I'm just going to leave it
Yeah.
in the Lord's hands and try not to get violent, you know?
Yeah, that's kind of where I was going with it too, because here's the situation. I think that once a corporation or anything like Facebook, Twitter, anything like that starts taking the bow to the state, any government agency or anything, shares information, lets them coerce them into doing what they're doing, like deplatforming and shutting down people. I mean, I really don't care that they shut down President Trump, because what the guy actually, he fucked himself, and excuse my language, but I mean, he did. He screwed himself. I mean, from day one, even before he was president, he was already tweeting like a 14-year-old love hurt kid, and I knew even though I was defending him on the Russiagate thing, because I think we could both agree that Russiagate was a freaking piece of shit. But anything else, I mean, he was just shooting himself in the foot, and I just couldn't understand it, because basically I think that President Trump would have been a great president if he just would have stopped tweeting and just did what he did. Okay. And did he incite what went on? I think he helped it out, but I think everybody helped it out. I think even the left helped themselves out. As me and Dougie talked about last night with the violence and stuff that was going on. He's trying to tell me that the people were sick and tired, and that's why they burned down and looted the things. Well, yeah, of course they were. They were sick and tired. But what was the difference of them being sick and tired than the people that were at the rally in Washington D.C. being sick and tired? Now, you can talk back and forth. I mean, you're down there with Maxine Waters. I mean, she's incites all kinds of stuff. I mean, stuff down there.
She's
south.
An absolute lunatic, man.
She's an absolute lunatic
in the hood.
Yeah,
and she's this clown.
Yeah, exactly. And so don't tell me that one person gets to incite and the other person doesn't. It's just all set up in the way that the narrative is presented. And believe me, you said we're in a struggle right now. We are in a spiritual struggle, man. We're in a spiritual war right now. We've been in a spiritual war for a long, long, long time. It's just starting to twirl and come to a head right now. Yeah. And me and you both know the rapture is coming, baby. And and that's I'm praying and I'm hoping, and my faith keeps me alive. And that's what I'm doing with the rest of the thing. But getting back to this corporate takeover with social media, I'm so glad. Even though when I did actually go to Gab at one time, it was really a lot of an echo chamber. I'm not looking for an echo chamber. I mean, I think that's one of the things that most gets me to where I don't want to be. So I don't want to go somewhere where all we're going to do is talk. We're going to talk like this, right? Yeah. I don't want to talk like that, dude. I want to have an open mind. I want to be able to share, bounce ideas off of each other, compromise where compromise needs to be held, drawing a line in the sand, which I never thought I'd have to do with people that I followed or friends of mine or stuff like that. But I can't believe that I've had to actually draw a line in the sand and go like, dude, we can't do this anymore. And it's just because we're so ingrained in the corporate structure that our government and our society has led us into, dude. And it was a slow boil. It was a slow boil.
Yeah, it's the 100% conditioning of the state indoctrination system, aka government schools.
Yeah,
we have been for years, and I'm a product of it. Unfortunately, my kids are not, and we've been homeschooling for almost 3.5 now. And I will do anything I can to continue to do that, to have my wife be the educator of our children. Right. We're all educators, folks. It just depends on how we're doing it to train that individual up for whatever that skill set may be, or whatever that passion may be, or whatever it may be, right? But like you were saying, Bruce, it's just everybody's just like, okay, yeah, we need to do this. We need to stay the course. We need to toe the line and all this. No, man. Like you said, the line has been drawn. I am sick and tired of it. I can't. My battle armor is beat up, man. It's tattered, but I'm still ready for the fight. I'm ready for the fight, because when you see this, I think it was both sides. You had your MAGA there, you had your Patriots, you had your Antifa, your BLM, but then when you see stand down orders from the mayor of DC, videos of officers opening up gates and going, "Come on in," and whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And then going down the rabbit hole, and who knows if Trump had his special forces there to get Nancy Pelosi's laptop. I don't know if it is true, and there's a lot of bad stuff in there. Let them all burn, okay?
Yeah.
Hang them, get rid of them, whatever
Yeah.
we need to do, because I think the state is evil. They're the root of all violence, and you want to say this sacred building must be protected? Are you kidding me? What about Bruce's business
Mm-hmm.
being looted or rioted? But that's okay, right?
Mm-hmm.
At the beginning of the year, what
Right.
was that in April, right? With
Right.
Floyd.
Right. Right.
And it's just asinine, the hypocrisy that we have to go, okay, this is good, but this is bad. Excuse me?
Yeah.
Like, who are you? And then these clowns, guys, that you keep voting for, and I'm telling you this, they say, oh, we're going to fight the election results, and they kowtow.
Hmm.
They just wave the white flag, whatever, but it all ties into all this nonsense going on right now. And the media, the technocrats, the government officials, all of them, I think we're working together for this agenda and this whole thing. And it's like, here it is. Here's the powder keg, boom. And it's going to just keep going off, man.
Yeah, I think that segues into our next thing, where we're going into the Church of Wokeness to the Church of Faith. And the reason why I wanted to bring this up was it was very interesting because I've listened to this on the way home. I was listening to Peddling was it Peddling Freedom or something like that, one of the podcasts I listened to. Anyway, the guy that does the podcast was going like, there's this religion that's going on, and Trump's part of this religion that happened on January 6th, is that you had these thousands and thousands of people that were here at this rally for DC, and some of them were there to protect their liberty and protect their freedom, just like me and you, but a lot of them there are going to the Church of Trump. Okay. And they're going to, that's their leader. That's their this and that, and whether or not, they're the ones that were front and center, the ones that were jumping the fences and going through the gates and busting into the buildings, really doesn't matter to me at all what that's about. But what worries me the most is that we have these factions that are worshiping the state, which Donald Trump is a part of the state. If you want to talk about state, you've got left, you got right, you got Donald Trump, you've got Pelosi, you've got the Democrats, you've got progressives, you've got liberals, you've got conservatives. It's all some kind of a cult that they've got going on out there. And a lot of us are just whipped up and pissed. I mean, I can stand next to my BLM friend and my freaking Antifa friend and be mad about the system that's going on, but I'll be damned if I'm going to go burn a building or anything like that unless something's going to be coming after me. I mean, they start throwing bricks at me, I'm start throwing bricks back. But I mean, that's what I'm not an eye for an eye or a finger for a finger. But I'll tell you what, if somebody's going to threaten my life, I'm going to go back and I'm going to attribute that stuff. I'm going to fight back. But to go on the insightfulness of a speech or an idea or anything like that other than Christ, I'm not going for it, dude. I'm not going to do it. And I think that there's just too many people whipped up in a narrative right now, whether that be left, right, center, whatever. And it's just, it's crazy, dude. It goes against my non-aggression principle. It really does. And I'm a peaceful guy. I'm a real peaceful guy. I'm not going to, if I point a gun at you, I'm going to shoot you. I mean, that's a fact, dude. And more often than not, you're going to have to pull your gun on me first before I pull my gun. But I mean, if I go to get the energy to get my gun, I'm going to shoot you. You better run.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Like you were saying, it's basically worshiping false idols. People bow down to the state, that they're their leader, that they must listen to them on every single thing. It doesn't matter, like Bruce said, left, right, indifferent. It doesn't matter what box you're in. These people do not give two shits about you, folks. They haven't, and at least at minimum of 100 years. In my lifetime, I haven't gained any more freedom or liberty. My shirt still talks about taxation. It's theft, okay? Has your taxes gone down? Has that theft gone down in your lifetime? No. There it is. There it is, guys. There it is. I'm backing up here so you can see it. Trying to get on there. So there's my cool shirt for you. You can get it on they're on the internet. I'm not giving that big AWS Amazon any credit. Forget you guys, Amazon. That's where I got it from, unfortunately, but forget them. I'm trying to get off them. But anyways, it's this notion that these idols, that these people are, the end all be all instead of Jesus Christ. Okay. And in church, they've even been talking about that because we're doing a big tent revival, and I want us to get back inside. I'm just begging them. I keep asking them, and it's crazy, man.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
a lot of these pastors right now are buying into this nonsense,
yeah.
and when they buy into it, it's
Hmm.
unbiblical
Yeah,
because
yeah,
right now,
mm,
like it goes back to the beginning of this year,
yeah,
the coronavirus, right? You
yeah,
quarantine the sick and the elderly, and you let us free men
yeah.
and women go to
Florida,
work
Florida,
in Florida, right? I see that coming.
South Dakota.
Yes. Go there and look at the numbers, right?
Yeah,
And I don't even believe the government for one bit on these
yeah,
numbers anyways.
yeah.
So
Mhm.
it's like, but the numbers only work when they fit your narrative, but not these and this kind of
Right.
stuff. But
Yeah.
these people need to just wake up and be shook to the core, man, because he's at the wheel right now. This is his agenda. Jesus Christ. He's doing all this stuff. We don't know why.
Yeah.
We could try to ask that, but all we need to say is, Jesus, guide me, keep me strength in your
Yeah.
word, help my family, stay strong, help others that we can, because especially here in Southern California, and I know it's the same there, Bruce, up in Northern California, people are decimated. They're hurting.
Oh
I
yeah.
was talking to somebody today on the way home, that's in our little league, and he's like, "Yeah, give it about 90 days, and you're going to start seeing a lot more foreclosures and people
Mhm.
getting kicked out of their houses." I'm like,
Mhm.
"Well, I know it's coming,
Oh yeah.
but
Oh, it's coming. It's coming
eh,
big time.
I
So
I just want people to get back the Christians that call themselves Christians, get
yeah,
back to the word, man. Get back
yeah.
to that word and don't say that you are one, but and you're telling me that I have to do these things.
Mhm.
That's not right, man. And
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
I just want
I
to
mean,
you,
I
you
mean,
need
I go and I do the shopping and I go see what's going on in my community. And for every one business that's open, there's four that are shuttered. And out of that four that are shuttered, probably two are probably never coming back, and maybe even more than that. And and it's just the government is picking and choosing their winners. And
winners.
believe me, and when I listened to Thaddeus Russell today, also because I have all this time to be able to listen to these podcasts because I go to behind the desk. I'm not swinging hammer all day.
I know, right?
But there's a world thing going on with economics that they don't want us to die.
Oh,
The World Economic Council does not want us to die. They want us to be an ant farm.
mm,
And why they want us to be an ant farm? Because they want us under their thumb. They want to take care. They want to get rid of all small businesses, so all these big corporations can take
yep,
over all those. You're going to see small businesses out there, but they're going to be under the umbrella of a big corporate
uh, entity.
like Amazon.
Mhm.
And that's how things are going to be in the future. And the guy that was talking was actually going like, this is inevitable. I mean, you can run, but you can't hide, because
Mhm.
this is what's going to happen. I mean, we know that a one world, one monetary system's coming. The Bible is foretold about that and
Mhm.
things like that. And you're either going to have the mark or you're not. And you're either going to die or you're not. And the bottom line is that a lot of us Christians are going to follow along with it, but you know if it comes to survival, like you said, I think where I'm getting down, where I'm aiming this at is our self-sufficiency and being prepared for what is coming, because that's what's going to happen. You've got 1 in 5 businesses that are open. You're going to have 3 in 5 of those businesses are going to fail within the next year, or have already failed, that are never coming back. You've got you can listen to Jason Stapleton all you want, and you can say that I can start a business, I can start this, I can start that, but it's getting harder and harder
It
every
is.
day to sell your information. The information is slowly bleeding away, and I love the direction that he's taken me, but it takes a lot out of you to get where you need to be. You know it because you've got a farm out there. Tell me about how hard it is right now for Forsyth Farms and what's been going on during COVID.
Yeah, I mean, for us, Bruce, the hardest part I think for most individuals is getting off your butt and not having the fear, because especially now with all the fear mongering back and forth, like the case, it's flattening the curve, it's the cases, it's the deaths, it's all this stuff.
Mhm.
But people want to just they just live in fear, and they're like, no, I don't want to do this. I'll do it later. And now is the time to do it, because if you are a Christian, if you are, I'm gonna just put people in boxes right now: Christian, constitutionalist, libertarian, agorist, voluntarist. These micro communities, micro freedom cells, and all this stuff has to explode right now, or we're going to be buried. Like you said, all these people are going to be taken under and gobbled up. And I think it was Yelp. They did something not too long ago, I think in the middle of this pandemic, as I call it. And they said, like, I think it was over 50% of these small businesses under like 200,000, 300,000 aren't coming back. And it's just decimating, because you're going to see a massive commercial real estate bubble and a burst. And you're going to have all this open space for what? No jobs and whatnot. But for us, coming back to us this year, the hardest part for us is actually to keep the stuff in stock. Yeah. We've been blessed. We've been blessed because people are being woke with all this nonsense, with this violence from these riots from the beginning of the year with Floyd, with BLM and Antifa and stuff. Then the coronavirus with the food shortages. And I think more is on the way, because there was massive flooding in the Midwest this year for grain and soy and other stuff. Yeah. All these different things and all this chaos and turmoil, while people are like, uh-oh, what's up? So our hardest thing is to keep the stuff in stock. But for others, I tell them, just do it. Yeah. So what we're doing, and what I think I mentioned it to you, and if I didn't, we did it about, I think 3-4 weeks ago. I don't know if you've heard about these things. They're called pop-ups. Okay. Pop-ups are small little like side hustles. You have arts crafts, you have foods, you have whatever. The city shut us down to get a permit in our green belt, which is right by the livestock zoned area, to go to that trail. And I said, screw the city. So what we did is we came in, Forsyth Farms LLC. We put all the vendors underneath our LLC, and we did it between 3 neighbors' houses at the end of the cul-de-sac. And we had over 150 people at 3 hours. Most were maskless, living life. Small businesses are like, let's do this again. So my next one's going to be the week before Valentine's Day. And I'm going to charge more, have private security, do all these other things. And I'm like, you guys are forcing me to make a business. And guess what? We're a club. We're not beholden to all these edicts and these laws. So we could get away with stuff because it's membership only. So here it is. So people need to think about these avenues and use the system against them, because they're going to keep hammering and hammering and hammering. Like he said here, that they don't care about you guys. We're a number. They want to keep you alive, but they want to get you on the government dole with a UBI. And they've already talked about the World Economic Forum and all these other ones. This is the great reset.
It is going to be a reset. There's going to be a reset.
It's happening, folks.
Yeah, it's happening. It's happening.
No questions about it. And you need to prepare like now. And if you didn't, and I hear people, I need beans and rice and all this other stuff. Where were you like 6 months ago? Yeah. But now all of a sudden, dude. And I appreciate this.
But do it now. But do it now. But
do it now. Start now. And I preach to people like food security is paramount. And if you as a man aren't doing that for your family with either some form of protein, like these little birds, quails, ducks, geese, if you have land, chickens, whatever, do that at bare minimum, and then get your water, get your other stuff, grow your own stuff. Yep. But, you got to start building those communities off of these massive platforms where you're all together and you guys are able to keep each other's information. It's secure. It's encrypted. I was listening to a podcast today called Sovereign Tech with Brian Sovereign. He's a agorist voluntarist. He lives in the free state of New Hampshire. He's one of the best podcasters when it comes to the tech stuff. He is on it. He just went through all this stuff of these deplatforming, and he's all, okay, now here's the solutions. Get off these ones, use these, boom, 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 boom. And he said, do it now, because it's going to get harder to get off them. They're going to reel you in. They're going to keep your data, and then this is what you need to do. So there's so many pieces moving right now. It's hard to keep up, even though we're hearing this stuff and getting the good information. I know people are overwhelmed. I'm overwhelmed. I have a wife, I have a children, I have an urban farm to raise. I'm doing this show with Bruce, which I love. I got our podcast. I got all these things going on, but at the end of the day, you got to do it for yourself and your fellow man, in my book.
Exactly. And one of the things I want to talk about the businesses in California, you said you put everybody under the LLC. Is that the beauty of California LLCs is it costs us $800 a year, but we can run as many businesses as we want underneath that LLC. And it's a beautiful thing. So if you guys are thinking about going to Connecticut or any place else that has, these $35 fees, that's fine. But you need a $35 every time you want to freaking start a business. In California, you can start as many businesses under your LLC as you want. So that's probably one caveat that's actually positive in California. That's business friendly. So
no, one of very few.
One of the very few. But going forward, like I said, we're getting up on springtime. A lot of people that are still at home working remote. That's not me. Thank God that I haven't missed a day of work. I know that you were out. I know you were out for a little bit, right? Were you out? I think you were out for a little bit because of your foot.
I broke my darn foot, not at work, at home. And I was out for 2 freaking months, and I was pulling my hair out.
But thank God I haven't lost any work. A lot of people are working remote, but Josh is right. I mean, if you've got a plot of land, if you've got something going on, I mean, learn to work the dirt, learn to work your land to your advantage. I mean, it's nice having a lawn and flowers and everything. I've got a great backyard. I mean, Josh has seen my backyard.
I know. I can't wait to visit with you.
But I have a pretty good 300, 400 square foot garden that's in the back of my backyard, along with my entertainment space and stuff like that, which is plenty enough that has fed us during the summer. We have a little bit stored up for the winter and stuff like that. We're lucky enough to get beans and rice and stuff. We're stored up on that, and waters and stuff like that. We shop in bulk. We're not preppers, but I mean, if things went down for a couple of months, we'd be fine. I mean, so that's what you need to be. Is you need to be down, like Dave Ramsey says. You have to have a rainy day fund. You have to have that emergency fund, not just in cash. You got to have emergency fund in food. You got to have emergency fund in water. You have emergency fund in all kinds of things that you need that that you're not going to be able to get if this place really locks down.
It's very valuable also right now is lead. You know what I'm saying, folks?
It's very valuable right now, and if you can get it, buy it.
The store shelves are empty, especially in the certain Walmarts in LA County that do sell it. It's gone.
Yeah, more more precious than Bitcoin.
And I was taking a nosedive recently too. So.
Hey, they were up at 48,000. They went down to 32. I listen to Peter Schiff all the time. I'm a big gold guy. So I mean, I buy and sell gold like a day trader. Actually, I'm not a day trader, but I buy it low, sell it high, all that stuff. It drives my boss nuts.
Don't take advice from Bruce, okay? Because he could get in trouble, folks.
Do not take advice from me. What I get out of my
only opinion. Remember, only
an opinion. Exactly. I claim no riches.
Right? There's always somebody ready to pull that trigger and go after you, man. So,
Josh, tell us how you. I want to get to Forsyth Farms because I'm just so impressed every time that I talk to you and every time that I see you on Facebook or any place that I run across you. Tell us what Forsyth Farm is. Tell us how big it is. Give us a mind's eye view of what you have, because I know that I have this 6,500 square foot lot, and I know that you have a little bit more than me. Not much, but I mean, but dude, I'm envisioning this utopia of self-sufficiency.
So let me cut everybody off into the chase right here. I have a small property. We are an urban farm, okay? Across the street from me,
exactly,
because we're in a livestock zoned area, they have 1/4 to 3/4 an acre.
Mm-hmm.
Horses, goats, and they mainly have turned into more like ranch styles with the Hispanics and the Latinos, because we're Southern California. Norwalk is mainly Hispanic and Latino. I can still bring horses and goats over here, but I don't have the space. So we decided to turn our back, and I probably have, Bruce, I'm not kidding you. If I were to calculate the space, probably 1/20 of an acre, brother. So It's not a lot. But what we do is interplant our trees, our herbs, spices, drip mulch, sheet mulch, irrigate, stuff like that. And then we have the walk-in aviary. If I were to do it all over again, I would have changed the setup a little bit of the aviary. But what we use here, and we strive for everybody, and you nailed it earlier, is work the soil, folks. Nothing is better for your immunity and your health than playing in the microbes and the fungi.
Man,
with
like
your hands.
Kid.
Yeah, and barefoot my kids all the time. My parents go ballistic over it when they come over. Wait, where's your shoes? I'm like, dude, let them be kids. I don't care. Unless they're going the street running around, then put on your shoes, right?
Yeah.
but they're kind of that free spirit and whatnot. But we do regenerative agriculture, permaculture, and organic. Basically, what it is using natural organic stuff in a nutshell to keep it in layman's terms, because it's probably over everybody's heads. But I've been doing this stuff and implementing this for about 6 years, and we are slowly working our way up to the front. The back's about 95% where we want it to. We do have a nice little entertainment center with our center area with a in-ground, beautiful stainless steel a fire pit. That was an old sink basin that you push down and come from the waterfall. So it's huge, man. It's like 6 feet in diameter. I've had massive fires where I have to bring out the hose, you know, 'cause I don't want to burn down anything. But we keep it real, man. And like I said, we preach not only just the quail for the eggs and the meat, you know, because not everybody has the property space for ducks, chickens, or anything like that. And those other animals are great, but they're destructive. You could have these little baby birds anywhere, like HOAs, your apartments and whatnot, but work the land, work the soil, observe it, man. Look at the bugs, look at the fungi. And if you do have abundance and you're not going to consume it, either freeze it, you know, dehydrate it, sell it, or give it to your fellow man, your neighbor. We're constantly giving away. We grow a lot of citrus.
Yeah,
a lot of apples. Oh yeah, like here you go.
Citrus like every day.
There you go. You know,
citrus, squash.
Such a great climate, and it's just crazy. And I'm telling people, like, rip out your grass, man. You don't need that grass.
I'm getting ready to
make a garden. You know,
I'm getting ready to, man.
So yeah, we're small. We're growing. We have a covey of about 200 birds, and we're telling people, like, we're trying to scale up, but it's so difficult with space. So we're actually looking at leasing or renting across the way for people that don't use all their space, because we want to grow and we want to make more. As long as I'm still here in California, my wife's finally on board with looking out of state. Thank the Lord for that. So we'll see where it takes us, because I could pick this operation up and start over in a heartbeat, because I've already looked at certain areas. It's so easy for me to start.
Nomadic wealth, baby. Nomadic wealth. And you got the certification behind you too, right? Because you're a master gardener. Is that correct?
No, I wish I was.
I thought you were a master gardener.
No, I wish I was, Bruce. I mean, that's one course I haven't taken, but I've listened to enough and read enough where I think I already have it down. But now I got to get certified in that and pay that money for, say, you to certify me, sir, or whoever it is.
You know? I listened to what you said a lot, and I've got everything burning up in my compost pile right now.
Oh, awesome, bro.
Friend of mine just went and got me a great big bin of mushroom compost from one of the mushroom farms here.
Nice.
Oh yeah, and it was, when I got it, it was nice and burnt already, and I had some leaves and stuff. I got no nitrogen going on right now. I'll get some nitrogen Monday when they come do my lawns and stuff. But it's just been sitting there cold. So I put this stuff in, man. And I freaking raked it in, and I was thinking it was steaming the other day. So
get that stuff in there, and then even since it's a little cooler right now, if you want to, one pro tip is tarp it. You know, tarp it. And mine, I don't turn my compost too much. I just let it naturally do its thing, because I'm lazy. I'm not lazy. I got too many things going on. I'm not lazy, man. I got so many things going on, folks. But sometimes this last weekend, I didn't do a whole lot. I watched a little bit of football with the virtue signaling and other stuff still that's going on, but whatever. I still love my sports, man. I'm a sports
I love my sports too, and Alabama took it to
Ohio. I was very happy, and my wife was sad because her family's from Ohio.
Yeah, so was mine.
So they're like, no. Yeah, it's I mean, this whole thing, even more so this year, Bruce, people are like, finally, and one thing I want to hit is they're finally saying, I need to get back to my land. Well, duh. We used to do victory gardens everywhere. People used to share instead of these chem green lawns with these pretty flowers. Hey, have like all these different weeds, have all these different flowers in your grass, you know, clover, buckwheat, everything, you know, just put it out there and let the bugs come. Good bugs will come. You know, if you build it, they will come.
Yeah, exactly. And Tracy's been doing the same thing. She's going like, she doesn't mind the dandelions anymore because she makes tea
They're
out of them.
amazing, bro.
She
They're
doesn't
amazing.
mind. She doesn't mind the mint growing all over the place because you can make tea out of it. She's into teas now, which is really cool.
And some good mojitos.
And some good mojitos. Exactly. And get, like I said before, get back into your land, like you said, get back into your land, get your hands dirty, get out there and get that vitamin D that everybody's been talking about. You can't get vitamin D sitting in a freaking studio doing a podcast, but you can go out there and outside and work in the lawn or work outside, and you're going to get all kinds of vitamin D. And that's one of the things that I'm really that I've been going through the plant-based supplements and the probiotics with Plexus, and it's been a godsend. Let me tell you, my year 2020 in my health wise was probably the best year ever, and it was just because I met John Odermatt and his wife Nicole, and this is not a plug for my business because I do Plexus, but if you guys are interested, just contact me. I can get you the hard line in. John wants me to reel you in, and
I know. My wife's been talking secretly a little bits and pieces, and I'm like, oh, hold on.
John told me Josh is yours. So
you sound a little wild whippersnapper.
But no, seriously, I mean, so we need to start taking care of our immune health. And when we start taking care of our immune health, I'm talking about going out there and getting in your garden and growing your own food and growing these things that aren't done with Roundup or any chemicals or anything like, and just being out there and just being in the sunlight, putting your hands in the dirt, getting those microbes on you and that bacteria and stuff that's going to replenish your immune system, and it's going to because it forces your immune system to fight. So,
brother, I will say this: we don't get the flu shot. We haven't got the flu shot in my household in I think 8 to 10 years ish, somewhere around there. My kids, knock on wood, they don't get sick. They'll get a cold or like a little fever for 24 hours here or there, but it's not like prolonged. I swear by this because the crap that they put in those vaccines, but I take like, I think it's about 8. I'm kind of looking at it right now over there. It's in a Saturday through Sunday, like little chinga or whatever. It has all my stuff in there, my supplements. Okay. And I eat pretty darn clean. And yeah, I can't grow everything on my land. It's almost impossible.
Right.
But with the quail, something about them because they're fed organic, and we try to do as natural and organic as possible with buying our meats, our proteins, so they're not fed with all these steroids and all this crap grain and soy that we're then going to consume. But getting out there, like you said, getting in that vitamin D. And why haven't they been talking about boosting your immunity, vitamin D, playing in the soil, doing all these things from day one of the Modelo virus? Because they don't care. It's all about the fear.
Yeah, and it's all about fear, and they want pharmaceuticals.
I just thank you.
Yeah, it's all about pharmaceuticals. It's all about the narrative. It's all about getting them to scare you into thinking that you need everything that you don't. And that's one of the things, the reason why I wanted to do all these podcasts. Like I say, I do the Weathered Soul podcast with Dougie, and Dougie is my ultra weathered soul. So he was hired specifically for that task. And
Jekyll and Hyde.
The Jekyll and Hyde. But believe me, when me and Dougie get together and we talk before, we are on the same page on a lot of things, and he loves you to death. He just,
I know we go back and forth. I think it's how you get there, because he is well intentioned. I know he whatever, and he said some stuff to me, but I'm like, all right, don't let the old Josh come out, because I'll come at you, bro. But I'm trying to be better, even though I said some profanity tonight, folks. I'm really trying to. But this year has been super difficult, and like I said, it's to the point where you just got to be straight. You got to be unapologetic on everything. You need to just go for the jugular every single time. And if you lose people, you lose people. Yeah. Because my circle, like I said, it's getting very minuscule right now, and it is what it is. And I'll find those like-minded people. Yeah. And it's just like you, Bruce. Even though you're so far away and I've never met you in person yet, I feel like you're like a brother or an uncle or whatever. You want to.
we could break bread and freaking drink beers, dude.
Oh yeah, I'm down for that, brother. We do that a lot over here.
Yeah, and like I said when I started the show, when we were talking before, I think it's that if you have a stance you're solid with that stance, and you believe what you believe in, and it's no bullshit, and it's truth, then we don't have a problem.
Mhm.
It's that when people start taken off on a narrative or something that is state run or is cult run or anything like that, that's when I have a problem with what's been going on in this whole world, dude. And you know, I call people sheep a lot. I call people crickets because most of the time when you've been on my Weather Soul podcast website where I'll ask a question and it's just just crickets, man, because nobody wants to expose themselves. They're so scared of what somebody else who was on that, who's in that group or that community is going to say about them if they know that they feel that way.
Or it's like the critical, sorry to cut you off, but it's like the critical thinking. We're like, oh, I don't really have a thought on that. I've never thought about that. So how do I use my rational thought, logic, and reason to come out with something to say, okay, this is what I think about it now, and they back off because of the cancel culture, also of being ostracized or losing a job or losing somebody. It's like, forget that shit, man. If I'm gonna get sued for a view or whatever, come at me, bro. Like, let's go. I'm down for that fight, man.
Yeah, come on. That's why I'm an LLC. You can have my microphone and my camera.
What are you going to take, some quail? Okay, they're gonna the door's going to be open. And oh, what happened? I don't know. They all flew the coop. I mean, come on, man.
I want to take this last little segment that we have here because we got a little bit more time, and I want to talk about your podcast that you have, the Fen podcast. Tell me what's up. I've heard it before. I think it's a fantastic podcast, and I want to give you a chance to plug it and tell us all about what you're doing with your podcast.
Cool. So when we initially started, me and my co-host Adon, and he's been MIA lately. So Adon, when you watch this, you need to get back to the show. Darn it. But he's a working dog, working machine for his family. His wife stays at home, and he got his kids too and stuff. So he's been MIA, but it's you can call it the Fen podcast, the FN podcast. I don't care. It's faith, entrepreneurship, and neighbor. And our goal with that whole thing is to bring kind of all that together. You don't have to fit in that box for every single one, but if you do, it makes it easier because we go, here's the template. We let pretty much the individual who's coming on the show, run the show and kind of guide it. And then we ask our questions, but we want the audience to hear about them, their faith journey, their entrepreneurship. Like our last one with Brother George, man, we went down the faith journey.
Oh yeah.
It's chiropractic stuff. And I just like hearing them stuff, and it makes my job easy. I get to sit back and listen and go, this is sweet.
I enjoyed being on your podcast. It was one of the most
that was awesome, brother. You're going to be on again, so don't worry. There's gonna be something.
You want me to.
Excuse me, but yeah, it's we try to do that and neighbor. And I know a lot of stuff has been focused on the coronavirus, aka the Mandela virus, Rona, whatever you want to call it, but it does affect everybody on the local scale down to your household. Okay, it's real, I get it, but that is what has been driving the narrative. So we've had to talk about it multiple times. And my last two shows back to back, it has been entrepreneurs. So it's been really cool for me because I could talk for an hour if I want to and babble on and ramble, but you really have to, when you do it and to be successful, because I'm nowhere near where I want to be. And I'm trying to continue to do one a week is you have to put some time in beforehand for your agenda, take down your notes, do your stuff, do a little bit of research, depending on what you want to talk on. And this, like I asked Bruce earlier, I'm using hopefully this audio for a show to help me out this week because I'm going to be crazy busy. So we're going to piggyback off each other, excuse me, for that. But yeah, that's what we want to do because we didn't see anybody that was doing that kind of model. And that when you read how you want to and you go FEN, FN or Fin or whatever, it kind of grabs you and you're like, what's up with these dudes, bro? They claim to be Christians. And there's been a few where I've dropped a few expletives and I made it non-PG-13 and an adult, and I apologize, but because I got fired up. But it's a craft, you got to work at it. We love it. I love it. Made a few bucks on it, nothing big yet, but I wanted to continue to grow with it and see where it takes us, because what really got me off my butt was when I broke my foot this year, when I was out of work for 2 weeks, Bruce, and that was when I made Forsyth Farms into a full LLC. And then that's when I told Adon, like, it's either poop or get out the pot with we've been talking about this for like a year and a half when we used to work together, and but he grounds me, which is cool because he's like my mini theologian because he's so versed in scripture. His walk is further than me, and I'm the anarcho-capitalist agorist Christian coming at you like it's the Crusades time. Let's go, baby. So I was trying to find, that's what I was looking for earlier. I was trying to find this meme that I posted, but now it's like I think it might have got taken down my fascist book because it was on my page and I didn't get a warning. And I'm like, dude, it was basically talking about like it had a beautiful statue of like a crusader with the shield and a sword saying, "You're gonna see how political Christians are gonna get very soon here." So I was like, dang, that was strong. I think that was it came from Peter Bolin, and Five Solas Studios is his stuff, and he's also a big apologetic kind of guy. And I'm trying to find it, but I think I swear I think those sons of bucks took it down. But yeah, that's what our podcast is about. You can find us at basically at type in fnpodcast.com. We're trying to get off the fascist book. We got a Telegram group. And what's crazy about Telegram, when you have a channel, and I encourage everybody to try to use encryption for your messaging moving forward, even SMS messaging, get rid of it. Don't use Facebook Messenger. But the nice thing about channels is people can subscribe to you, but they're not going to be able to comment. They can see your stuff, and then you could see who's in there. And so there's so many people that didn't want to like say, "Hey, I'm a part of it," but now they're listening to you or seeing your stuff, and you're like, "What's up, bro?
What's up, dude?
You're getting my message. You're getting my message." Yeah, you're taking a peek. I see you. I see you. I saw you.
And like I said, all my little crickets out there and all my little sleepers out there, I know you're out there because I see you all the time. And,
and you get the instant messages or whatever from they're like, dude, that was awesome. Or they send you this little stuff. I follow you, but I'm like, stop being afraid. Stop being a wussy, man. Like, let's go.
Yeah. Unfortunately, we do have some followers like that are just, you know, I don't do Facebook, but you see them commenting on other people's stuff, right? And you see them. Because if you go to a group on my group, I can see who has looked at my posts. Unlike your personal page, you can't see who looks at your posts, but you can see in a group who looks at your posts. So I keep hearing from some of my followers that I don't post on Facebook or anything, but I catch them posting on other people's comments and stuff like that, and then I see them that they have viewed my posts and those groups. So they're there, dude, and they're curious and they're hungry. And I think the fact that I want to leave with here is that when that people are hungry for information, give them good information.
Amen.
If you see that people are hungry for some kind of spiritual uplifting, give them a hand up, man. Don't give them give them a hand up. Don't give them a handout. All right.
Or a beat down.
or a beat down, exactly, or a beat down, because that's just not the way we are, man. And just love our fellow man, dude. Don't hurt people, don't take their stuff. I mean, that's the biggest opening you can give anybody, man, and just live in peace. I mean, that's basically where we want to be, man, and we're not there. We're getting far away from that, dude. And I just want to,
whatever happened to live and let live, man. And like you said, it's a basic premise, but then when you talk about this, you're hurting people taking their stuff because they're coming with the barrel of a gun or imprisonment, So it's like,
but we're hurting people if we don't tax anybody because what happened to the poor people? We're supposed to take care of the poor people. I mean, so if everybody, if everybody would live under the guises of what freedom and liberty is all about, then everybody would really be taken care of. And I know it's a utopian kind of way to think, but I mean, we need the left and the right. We need the center. We need the libertarians. We need the conservatives. We need the progressives. We need the liberals. We need the Antifas, the BLMs, the KKKs, and everybody else. We need all of those people to come together and just kind of be a community together, man, that cares for each other instead of excludes each other, man. And to me, I think that it is really possible to do that. I really, really, in my heart, know that we can do that. But the problem is that one of these days, like me and you believe, the rapture's coming, and a lot of people are going to be left away, and they're going to be either falling on their knees or they're just going to be, living without, God for the rest of their lives. And I feel bad for them, but This
There
is
it
what we
is, man.
got, man. This is what we got, dude. Josh, I really just plug yourself one more time. Let people know where they can find you.
Well, if you guys are into urban farming and food security, check out forsythfarms.us. We're in sunny Southern California. We're blowing it up with quail and that kind of stuff. It's very cool. And then also it's not it's fnpodcast.com. Fin podcast. You can find it. It's not hard. It's we're just trying to do many different things to spread the message of Jesus, entrepreneurship, get off your butt, do stuff, be the captain of your own ship, like Jason says, and try to have that nomadic wealth and spread the word of the gospel the best we can, make some disciples. And I just am really, really praying for more freedom cells and like-minded people to come together and wear that battle armor and take that fight right to them, because this fight's coming, folks. Just got to stay in that word. And it's been a pleasure and an honor to be here, Bruce.
Yeah, thank you, man. Thank
you
you.
guys can find me on all the major platforms, but I'm trying to get away from those big ones. But I'm on Telegram too, Parler, Gab, even though they're having issues right now. So, thank you, man. And these little communities are going to continue to grow because of a man like him, Dougie, John Oderman, and all these other people that are preaching freedom and liberty. It's coming from the heart. They genuinely mean it, and they're on the right side of it.
Yeah, thank you, man. I really appreciate you being on this show, man. And I'm going to end this show like I end all of my podcasts. And that number one thing is my saying is that be free, not as free as they permit, but as free as you can get away with, because freedom is where it's at, man. Josh, thanks a lot, man, for being on the podcast. I love it, man. All his links will be in the show notes, and they'll also be on underneath the video. So you can get a hold of Josh whenever you want. I'll make sure that you can get a hold of him however you want, everything except for his phone number. and then we will see you the next time that I will do a rendition of Bruce for Liberty. And I want to thank you guys for being here. Have a good night. And Josh, sorry to keep you up so late, brother.
Thanks, guys. God bless.
All right, man. Take care.
Bye.
Bye-bye.